It gets less confusing once you understand the laws of the universe and once you are aware of the thoughts you think and the way they feel and so forth. That's why we were sort of emphasizing that part first before you stepped into this part of your conversation, because we want you to realize that nothing needs to surprise you when your own guidance system is active and you have some sense of awareness. But it's not an unusual thing for people to move from place to place or face to face or person to person and have things still remaining pretty much the same, different in some ways but the same in other ways, because your habits of thought or your beliefs don't change quickly. They could change more quickly, but they often don't. So from where you now stand, what do you now want?
As far as the relationship?
As far as anything that matters to you, it sounds like that's the topic.
What I want is to feel good and joy. That is what I want the most.
And so, is there a condition that you believe is preventing you from that? Because we just had a conversation about how impressed we all are with your ability to focus. Can you still focus? Could you focus yourself into feeling good, or is there a condition that's got your undivided attention?
I believe that the condition, that the relationship that I had with this man while I was divorcing and after my divorce has, yes, I believe that it has. My desire for him
has what?
Has preoccupied me to the point where I felt that that is what I needed to feel good. And I know that that is not true. I understand that it can never be a condition. I understand that better than I ever have in my life.
So with that understanding, how does one go about focusing on something other than a dominant condition? It's not the easiest thing, but can it be done?
Yes.
So what do you recommend? How do you suggest?
Well, I was kind of hoping you could help me with that. Because I've been trying for 5 years.
Tell us some of the things you've tried.
Not thinking about him.
But you can't just not think about something. You have to think about something else.
Telling myself, this man brought me to understand so much more clearly what I want in a partner.
Yes.
Yet he did not fulfill that.
But that's like saying to life in general, to any contrast, you should have been different.
Yes, I know.
You should have been different. Esther and her sister have something fun that they often say. If that person were different, they'd be perfect.
Yes, if you had just done those few things.
And of course they're having fun about it because they know that it's not someone else's job.
It isn't.
To be the way you need them to be. So again, it's about this focus that we were talking about. So when you say, I'm not going to think about that thing I'm thinking about, you're thinking about that thing that you're thinking about. And
right.
So what kinds of things hooked you in? In other words, what is it that keeps you thinking about this person?
His demeanor, his way. There's something about him that...
Is he still in your life?
Not intimately. I still see him.
So his demeanor... Is he here? He's not in the room?
No.
Oh, he's not on the ship?
No.
And yet, his behavior, his demeanor is still occupying your mind?
Yes, and I don't know.
Well, it's law of attraction. Law of attraction is just giving you the things that you commonly think about. But as you get a little distance between you so that the condition is not so active, where you almost can't avoid it, you could start thinking about some other things. And as you think about some other things, they can become more dominant. You only have so many hours in a day, so much broadcasting on so many subjects. So is it possible for you to find other things other than that to think about?
Yes, and I do so much more than I used to. I used to obsessively
So
think
what
about
do you think the hooks are? What are the hooks all about?
Well, sex was a big part of it. It was. And in my marriage was pretty much void of sex, and I was in it for 16 and a half years. So when I left my ex-husband and I met him, he was the first partner I had. And I just felt, I don't think that was the only thing, but I think that was a huge part of it.
So are you telling us that this is a relationship that you want to return to, or this is a relationship that you're happy to be rid of?
You know, that's kind of the thing. I feel as if that relationship has brought me more clarity about the type of man I would like to be with. And there's many aspects of him that I enjoyed.
So we talk about this vortex, this vibrational reality. Does it feel to you that any one person, or specifically this person, is the path of least resistance for your desires to be fulfilled through?
I'm not quite sure.
Does it feel to you that of all of the things that this relationship has caused you to desire, does it feel like moving back into that relationship is the path of least resistance to fulfilling all of those desires?
No.
You feel sure about that. We can feel that from you. And you said something earlier that lets us know that too. So what do you think it is that causes you to keep looking back? We'll tell you what it is.
Okay, great.
And you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
Almost everybody does something like this. But it's that the manifestations is more real because there's more to see and more to hear and more to taste and smell and touch. In other words, the physical reality feels dominant to you. That's why we spend so much time wanting to convince you that the physical reality is not dominant, the non-physical reality is dominant, and that if you can get your attention there, that it will morph into an improved physical reality. You just can't get there from there. You cannot look at a segment of life, whether it's a personality of someone or whether it's a relationship that you had. You can't spend your time looking at the specifics of that and at the same time harmonizing with the expansion that you've made because of that.
Yes.
And that's why the hooking in is so strong. Because the very person, hear this is really a powerful and important thing to understand. The very person that has given you the bounce, that has caused the expansion, that has contributed so mightily to this new you, to this new vortex, to this powerful, evolved you, is also the person that's keeping you from moving to it.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And so, if you could be a better selective sifter, and we're not putting you down for how you're doing because everyone sort of observes, but if you could be a better selective sifter, if you could look into the details of that relationship and just remember the parts you really liked, then those parts, that active vibration, could then move you more quickly into a place where this vortex is manifesting into something else that is pleasing. But because there's both wanted and unwanted in that vibration, when you go there for the good stuff, you often find the not good stuff too.
Yes.
And we want to say it again. It is so natural and normal that the very person that caused you to take the bounce would be someplace that you want to keep looking. But it is counterproductive. So this is where what we have to say to you can really be of benefit if you can hear us when we say, in a very general sense, appreciate this person for the new relationship he helped you to create, and just leave it at that.
I'm trying. That's what I've been trying to do. I've heard this from you. I have heard this. I have thought this. And
what's new in the conversations that we're having over these recent days is this. Reality, the person, the sex, the memory of that is more tangible and therefore temporarily more appealing to you than the dream, than the essence, than the emotion. But this is what we want all of you to get over, because your what is keeping you from your what can be.
Yeah.
You have to let go of the past, and we want to call present manifestation the past in order to move to what you have already become. You want us to tell you the name and address of your new partner.
yes. Could you do that?
And in doing so, we would only be providing another condition for you to fixate on. We want you to find the feeling of that and feel such satisfaction in the current uncondition of that, that you allow yourself the delicious, really glorious experience of being in a vibrational place where an impulse or a thought occurs to you that leads you to what you are wanting.
Yes.
And this time, unlike the last time, what you will be led to will be pleasing in all of those ways, not just in some ways.
Do you see him?
Clearly.
Not the old guy, the new guy.
Well, we are good at ignoring your vibration, so we're not seeing the old guy,
Oh,
either one of them. We're seeing the new.
yes. That's who I'm really interested in, thankfully. And I want to get rid of the...
But you see, your focus contradicts that statement.
I know.
Because if that were true, you'd be looking more here and less there.
Yeah.
And so there's this human thing about justifying this by bashing that. I deserve something better than that. But the whole time you're doing that, you're getting that. You're holding yourself there. So it helps to feel appreciation. And you said the words, you help me to know more clearly what I do want. You help me to know more clearly, and now I know more clearly. So let's turn this into an unconditional conversation for just a little while. Tell us what it feels like to be in this relationship that you prefer. What would that feel like? What does that feel like? What does it feel like when you go there?
It feels resonance and easy and comfortable and a home.
Now, these are really good words, and your vibration harmonizes with them. In other words, we don't feel resistance within you while you present yourself in that way.
Yeah.
Give us more.
Juicy. And
Now you went to juicy. You activated some of this.
oh, yeah, that was juicy.
So just stay a little.
Well, the new one should be juicy too.
It will be.
Yeah, I know.
It will be. But feel how the yearning came with the latter statements that wasn't there with the earlier statements. In other words, feel when you start tipping, when you start making it more conditional than unconditional. We get it, why. You all want to rush back to the condition. But we want to remind you that everything that you want, every condition, every relationship, every material object, every pile of money, every single thing you want, every circumstance and event, everything that you want to be manifest, the reason you do is because you believe you will feel better in the manifestation of it. And we're not trying to dissuade you from that. We're just wanting to show you the path of least resistance to it. Because when you fixate on something that has a whole bag of mixed energy in it, it slows you down in the process toward what you want.
Don't I know it?
So if you can avoid doing that
Yeah.
just for a little while by focusing upon the feeling of freedom, the feeling of friendship, the feeling of appreciation, the feeling of focusing, the feeling of discovery, the feeling of adventure, the feeling of new, the feeling of fun, the feeling of good conversation, the feeling of abundance and prosperity and stability. Oh, stability, the feeling of stability, the feeling of homecoming, the feeling of right place, right time, right person, the feeling of wholeness, the feeling of completeness, the feeling of synergy, the feeling of energy, the feeling of alignment, the feeling of friendship, the feeling of homecoming, the feeling of well-being, the feeling of natural, the feeling of normalcy. In other words, as you come into alignment with what you've created. Now, you were with us and with us and with us and with us, and then a lonely feeling sort of swept over you. So this is what we're talking about. You just got to keep finding that feeling, and when lonely comes, find that feeling. When lonely comes, find that feeling. When lonely comes, find that feeling. And before long, you'll be so solidly there enough of the time, not all of the time, enough of the time, not all of the time, enough of the time that the fulcrum will tip and the impulse will be there and someone will come into your experience and you will both know.